You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hi, we are Enterprise-Splaining, the podcast where we explain Star Trek Enterprise to each other and to you. I'm Jamie, and these are my co-hosts Maria.
Hello.
And Bill.
Hiya!
And this week we have a special returning guest, Chuck. Chuck, I'm so happy that you're back, but in case people don't remember, because it's been a whole year, who are you and what are you doing here?
How did you get in our house?
Right. I'm one of the hosts of the Earth Station Trek podcast, also a co-author of the Earth Station Trek Guide to Star Trek, which is our book we debuted this year.
Ooh, cool.
And I'm the Star Trek director of the sci-fi convention Stellar Fest, which is an Atlanta convention that just started this past year. We had a pretty successful first year. So yeah, I spend most of my time nerding out about Star Trek.
Awesome. Well, today we're going to be talking about the Star Trek Enterprise episode Ceasefire. However, Chuck is the only person here who's actually watched it, so it's going to be his job to explain to the rest of us what happened on that episode. I'm so excited. I love when we have a guest explainer.
Yeah, I like how we're just outsourcing. First of all, it's just one of us had to watch these episodes, and now we're completely
like, who else can we get to do this?
Eventually, we're just not going to show up for the podcast at all.
But before we get to that, we got a little bit of pod business. We have merch. We have a very cute Porthos Appreciation Society shirts in the ESO Network TeePublic store. So if you go to esonetwork.com and click the link for the TeePublic store, you will see them there. Computer, tell us a bit about the episode we'll be talking about this week.
Ceasefire. Both the Vulcans and the Andorians make a claim to a small planet, and military conflict soon erupts. As the fighting goes on, the Vulcans announce they are willing to discuss ceasefire terms.
It is now time for Two Truths and a Lie. Chuck is going to tell us two truths and a lie about this episode, and you can guess, I guess, can guess which one is the lie. All right, it's all you, Chuck.
All right. Well, this week on Star Trek Enterprise, I guess just Enterprise.
It is still just Enterprise.
Right.
Yeah. Trip wears flame-retardant underwear.
God.
Okay.
T'Pol speaks with a human accent.
Oh boy, that's going to be offensive.
And Phlox loses a finger feeding his Pyrithian bat.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I like these. These are fun.
Good.
Wait, what was the first one again?
That Trip wears flame-retardant underwear.
I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
That could be useful. I don't think Phlox loses a finger.
I am gonna go with one, just because I can't imagine the circumstances under which that would become relevant to this story.
I can 100% imagine.
Yeah, me too.
Okay,
I'm prepared. That's
I'm,
just you, Bill.
I'm prepared to be wrong, but I'm gonna go with one.
Chuck, what was number 2 again? Remind me.
T'Pol speaks with a human accent.
That one. I don't even know what that means, but I'm picking that one. So I think we're evenly split again.
All right. While you ponder with this week's lie, maybe let's hear a bit more from one of our sister podcasts on the ESO network.
Love horror? So do we. Welcome to Earth Station Boo, the podcast made by horrorholics for horrorholics.
From cult classics to the latest scream-worthy hits, we dig deep into horror movies, TV, books, and beyond.
We've got chills, thrills, and plenty of hot takes. So grab your garlic, sharpen your steak, and
Earth Station Boo, where horror isn't just a genre, it's a way of life.
We know you're dying to listen. Let's get spooky.
All right, Chuck, it's all you. Let's start with the cold open.
All right. We open on a helicopter shot moving over a bombed-out city. We can hear and see weapons fire. Phaser bolts blast from building to building. We focus in on one building and cut to the interior, where we find a pair of Andorians huddled over what appears to be a war plan map. A couple of other Andorians come in, assisting a wounded Andorian woman, played by Susie Plaxton. If you remember her from TNG, she played Kalar, Worf's half-Klingon mate, who's an ambassador, and also Dr. Salar.
Oh, yeah.
She's very tall, with a uniform that is more form-fitting and low-cut than her male associates.
Sure,
Shocking.
that checks out.
Wait, is she an Andorian?
Yeah.
She is.
Okay. I'm so excited Andorians are back.
She takes a deep breath and approaches the commander. He turns, and we see that it's Shran.
Hey.
He turns to her sternly
Hey.
and says, "Report." She reports that the men are holding their ground for now and indicates on the map where the enemy has deployed their forces. Shran studies the map and determines that the enemy is looking for weaknesses. Shran says that he has received a communique from the Vulcans requesting a ceasefire. To which the Andorian woman replies, "Have you ever met a Vulcan who wouldn't lie to get what he wanted?"
Not yet. Certainly not in this show.
Ever. It's all they do.
Shran solemnly replies that there is one other option. Someone he's dealt with before. A pink skin who has proven to be even-handed in dealing with the Vulcans. His name is Archer. Dun dun dun.
Da-da-da-da. The pink skin thing is back.
Yep. Then that gives us all faith of the heart.
I hate the pink skin. I know we talked about this every time it comes up,
It
but
makes me angry every time.
Well, look at
it
it.
only applies to white people.
Well, look at
Right.
it this way. When they talk that way, maybe they are only talking about white people. You know who we need to really fuck this situation up? I know a pink skin that we can bring in.
I just feel like their racial epithets should be a bit more inclusive, is all I'm saying.
Oh my god.
But that brings us to the Diane Warren update of the week. So, short Diane Warren update today. She released a new song. It's a song being sung by Sam Pounds. The song is called Talk About It in Bed. I listened to it. It's like an old school R&B, very like bluesy, soulful, kind of sexy, which is sort of unusual for a Diane Warren song. I had trouble finding any info about Sam Pounds. He doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. But he does have an upcoming album that the song will be on. His most well-known song up to this point, I think, is a song he wrote for Liam Payne called Do No Wrong. That was released posthumously. But yeah, so I think he's written some songs for other people, but I think maybe the reason we don't know him is because he doesn't really have his own music yet. But the song also features another blues artist, Bill Valentine, who's a little more established. But otherwise, honestly, that's basically it. There's really just not much going on in Diane Warren land.
So, Jamie, I have a question for you that you may or may not know the answer to. When she gives a song to an artist, does she have a lot of input as to how the song is interpreted? Because you said like this one was a lot more bluesy, and that's not something that she does. So is it possible that they took it and thought, well, let's slow this down and layer this in, or is she?
I don't believe she does production on the song.
Okay.
So I think, yeah, in terms of like the style of the song,
make it their
like,
own.
I'm pretty sure she's like
Right. Okay.
doing her thing and then hands it off. But she definitely retains all the rights to it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And like if they decide not to do it, or if she doesn't like it, I think she can take it to someone else.
Okay. I have a thing that I discovered today. Literally just today I was looking. What is the name of the song that is the Star Trek Enterprise theme song?
Is it not Faith of the Heart?
It is not, in fact, Faith of the Heart.
What?
It is Where My Heart Will Take Me.
What?
Yeah. I was
No.
like, so I was looking through the IMDb page for one of the episodes, and I was like, oh, soundtrack, Where My Heart. There was another Diane Warren song in this episode? No. It's called Where My Heart Will Take Me.
What?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how angry this information is making me, and I can't explain why.
I know! I had to share. I think we might have broken Jamie. Jesus.
Do people just call it Faith of the Heart because it's in the lyrics? And
Yes. It's the thing that is repeated over and over again, maybe?
I'm sorry, you just Mandela affected me. I've just entered a parallel reality. I refuse to accept this.
Sorry. That's your Diane Warren update of the week.
yeah, and with that, Chuck, tell us what happens. I'm so excited.
Let's keep
I'm
going.
so excited to find out if we actually learn Shran's name, because as we've established, we've seen him twice, but they've never actually said his name in the show.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's true.
okay. Well, we'll find out. All right, we're back into the episode with Enterprise flying through space. In the captain's ready room, Archer is taking a communication from Admiral Forrest. "You're sure he wants me?" Archer asks, to which Forrest replies, "Your presence is crucial to resolving the crisis."
Oh, no.
And it's exposition time. Forrest explains that the planet's Vulcan name is Pon Mukar, but the Andorians call it Waytan. It's on the frontier between their systems. Both sides claim it belongs to them. They've nearly gone to war over it twice in the past century. Forrest goes on to say that Saval will brief Archer when he arrives.
Okay, wait a second. We've established just a couple episodes ago that they are 100 light years away from Earth. Like, I know that they're not just like, they haven't spent like a year and a half just straight going away from Earth. I'm sure they've been like wandering around.
Zigzagging, yeah.
But I thought that like Vulcan was, I guess I don't know where the Vulcan and Andorians are, but they were clearly like near that in way back in the, I assume Pajam is not
episode.
that far from that. So,
Right.
But this is another system,
so
right?
far away?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a different system.
This is a different system, but it's on the frontier between the Vulcan and Andorian space.
Vulcan and Andorian space, so it's not necessarily
Right.
Vulcan. I mean, it's Vulcan. Is it
Presumably.
how big is Vulcan space, right?
I'm so freaking tired of doing work for this, but it might also be this planet has a valuable resource, which is typically why people get into fights over territory. Like maybe there's a lot of dilithium on this planet, so
No, it does not. But
It sounds like it. It sounds like Kashmir to me.
I just feel like they're so far away, and now they're gonna turn around, and how are they gonna get there? Anyways, it doesn't make sense.
Is this a Falklands situation where the place just kind of sucks, but people are fighting over it anyway?
Yes. All right.
Now that we've established that, please continue.
So both sides claim that this planet belongs to them. They've nearly gone to war over it twice in the past century, and Forrest goes on to say that Saval will brief Archer when he arrives. Archer doesn't want to help, but Forrest reminds him that this is the first time the Vulcans have asked for their help.
No, of course not. They asked him to help. Archer never wants to help if you ask him to help.
They should have just called him and been like, so this thing's going on, and I'm just letting you know because they've asked that you stay as far away as possible.
Absolutely do not go anywhere near this situation, whatever you do.
Archer is the closest thing they have to an ambassador out there. And Archer says,
Oh my
we'll
God.
get there as fast as we can. Forrest sends the transmission, and then we cut to the captain's mess, where Archer, T'Pol, and Trip are eating a meal.
What are they having?
There wasn't a good shot of it, but it looked either chicken or salmony with maybe green beans. T'Pol had a salad.
She's always eating salad.
If it's not her soup, it's always salad, broth, or whatever.
Phlomic broth.
So Trip was watching a glass of sweet tea vibrating on the table and said he doesn't like pushing the engines this hard. The injectors are running at 110%. T'Pol retorts that they are rated for 120%. To which Trip replies, "Yeah, and my underwear is flame retardant. That doesn't mean I'm going to light myself on fire to
Damn
prove it."
In all honesty, when you said that this episode opened on a battle-scarred planet, I was hoping we were going to close in on a huge crater, and Trip is standing in the middle of it, wearing only his underwear, which is slightly smoking.
Okay,
Right.
so it wasn't like he put on special underwear. Apparently, just all the underwear. That the like blue underwear that they wear is
flame
probably all
Presumably.
flame retardant, which makes sense.
He only says that his underwear is flame retardant. He doesn't mention anyone else.
Yeah, but they all
we don't
wear
know
the
if
same blue
that's
underwear.
Standard issue, or if it's special
T'Pol
to
says,
Trip.
"Why is your underwear flame retardant?" And Archer's like, "Don't ask. Don't ask him to tell this story."
I mean, it would make sense with their jobs, like on a spaceship, that Starfleet is providing them flame retardant underwear. It's probably all of their fabrics are flame retardant that they're wearing.
Sure. All right.
That would be smart.
I'm out. I'm out. All right.
So it's exposition time again. Archer says that Pon Mukar was claimed by the Vulcans in the year 2097. It's Class D and not much larger than Earth's moon. But Trip is incredulous. Class D is uninhabitable. He asks T'Pol, "Why are you fighting over it?" T'Pol explains that when the Vulcans arrived a century ago, the planet was uninhabited. They began to terraform it and established a settlement. Its sole strategic value was its location near Vulcan space. The only logical conclusion was that they were setting up a military base. Trip asks if they had any evidence, to which T'Pol retorts, how much evidence would you need if the Klingons decided to set up a colony on Pluto? Because that's the same thing. The Vulcans annexed Pon Makar to protect their territory. The Andorian colonists were removed by force. A surveillance satellite was put in orbit to monitor the agreement, and the planet has remained uninhabited for a century until now.
Wait, so the Vulcans were terraforming it and then the Andorians colonized it?
The Andorians were terraforming it to establish a colony.
Okay.
And the Vulcans came and removed them by force.
Okay, got it. Got it.
And they put a satellite in orbit to make sure the Andorians don't mess with it again.
But they didn't. But the terraforming didn't finish, as far as we.
No, it did, because
as far as we can tell from the episode, it has a breathable atmosphere at this point.
Okay.
But it doesn't. It's not a paradise.
It's not Risa.
Yeah, and the Vulcans they never colonized it. They're just preventing the Andorians from colonizing it. Even though I would assume that terraforming takes a long time and is probably very expensive. That's probably a difficult process, so that kind of sucks for them. But
all right, the Enterprise arrives in orbit of Pon Makar, flanked by 2 Vulcan ships. Archer reports in his log that the 3 days it has taken them to arrive, the situation has become more tense. Trip is really annoyed that they damn near burned up the warp reactor to get here, and now they're making us wait. Ambassador Saval arrives with Subcommander Murak. Saval wants to know why an officer of the Andorian Imperial Guard would personally request Archer's involvement.
Great question.
Archer's confused, and he thought Saval asked for his help. Saval makes it clear that he does not consider Archer's presence to be an asset to his negotiations.
Okay, so I have an actual question for you. So I should know this. Is Ambassador Saval, is that Gary Graham?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Saval makes it clear that he does not consider Archer's presence an asset to his negotiations. So Archer stands up and petulantly says, well then fine, we'll continue with our mission. And it's exposition time again. As Saval explains that 6 days ago, Shran landed on Pon Makar and established and occupied the settlement. So naturally, the Vulcans enforced the Treaty of 2097 and have now regained control of half the colony. But 24 Vulcans have been wounded and 3 have been taken hostage. Shran has agreed to negotiate for the release of the hostages, but only if Archer acts as the mediator.
Shran knows that the Vulcans just hate Archer.
How can we really what's the worst thing we could do to the Vulcans in this situation? Oh, I know.
I do see how we don't usually talk about this, but obviously the whole purpose of this show is that presumably my assumption is it ends with them creating the Federation. And I see from a show perspective how they're sort of building to that with a situation like this. I don't think we've had a situation like this in the past where you could sort of draw a straight line to see how they end up with some sort of Federation at the end of this show. Right. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think in theory, this is the kind of story you want from a Star Trek show, from a prequel at least, that the Andorians and Vulcans have conflicts and the humans get involved and sort of bridge the gap.
Yeah.
By providing a common enemy.
Common enemy, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, because in later Star Trek, it does seem like that's usually the role of the Federation for other species that are fighting. So it is interesting to see these species that we know become part of the Federation fighting with each other. And it's humans taking on the role now that the whole Federation will take on later.
Right.
It's almost like this is a good show. Can that be right?
Almost.
No.
Eventually things became so bad that calling in the humans seemed like a good idea.
All right. For some reason, Shran finds Archer trustworthy. Archer turns around with a smirk.
That makes sense. I mean,
okay.
From Shran's perspective, Archer is a straight up guy. Yeah.
Right. Fair.
Right. So Archer takes some delight in asking Saval, so you're asking for my help?
Oh my God, Archer.
Yes, Captain, I'm asking for your help. Archer enjoys this for an extended beat before saying, I'll see what I can do.
I need to gloat. Can you imagine, Picard in a situation where there's, two alien species fighting and they ask him to, come in to help mediate and him, gloating, oh, so you need my help?
First of all, yes, I can. Second of all, Saval fucking sucks. This guy, as much as Archer pisses me off, this guy 100%. Fucking sucks. And to see Archer, even if it's Archer, put the screws to him, I am A-okay with this.
I know, but smug Archer is the worst Archer.
I know.
I hate smug Archer.
This is going to come up, but I love it when, people get to turn the tables on a smug alien race. So, yeah, it's a real smug off.
Well, Saval doesn't find this reassuring. He points out that the last time Archer dealt with the Andorians, he destroyed a priceless monastery.
Again.
So
Not his
Subcommander
fault.
Murak,
Yeah, again, not his fault. Agree.
Right. so Subcommander Murak will accompany him to represent the Vulcans' interest. But Archer's not having it. Sharon trusts him, and he's not going to betray that trust by showing up with a Vulcan in tow. If they insist that he brings a Vulcan, then he'll bring the one that he knows that he can trust, which is T'Pol.
All right.
In sickbay, Phlox explains to Archer that this planet is home to a rather pernicious mutagenic pathogen, and he will need to bombard Archer's system with an analeptic radiation to protect him.
It comes
Archer
in suppository form.
Close. It goes into the decon chamber. And through the window, Phlox muses that it's ironic that the Vulcans weren't overly enthusiastic about Archer taking command of the Enterprise in the first place, and now his presence is crucial to their interests.
Okay, wait. The whole thing with bringing T'Pol, is T'Pol now going to negotiate on behalf of all the Vulcans? T'Pol?
No.
Okay. It's just
I think she's just there to
he just didn't want to
represent
show up with.
the Vulcan interests.
Right.
Well, wait, she's the one that's going to do it.
No. She really just comes along.
Okay.
She comes along, so he's bringing a Vulcan with him.
Okay.
Because they want a Vulcan
Fine.
there.
Yeah, but she's not going to be the Vulcan that's going to be.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
She's going, but she's not going to be the main one negotiating. Because I thought that wouldn't really make sense.
Yeah.
so-
No, yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. Yeah. So this is not not like the big negotiation. This is Archer going to meet Tron
And get his.
for the first. Okay. All right. I'm with you now. Okay.
So Archer tells Phlox that maybe we're not out here just to scan comets and meet new species. Maybe we're out here to prove that humanity is ready to join a much larger community. Archer intends to do that, whether the Vulcans like it or not.
Maybe they should come up with some sort of I don't know, like an organization of some
Sort
sort.
of.
Right.
No, you're missing the crucial pause, Jamie. Some kind of federation.
Right. Yeah, they don't go prequelitis like that, thankfully, in this scene. There's no, we'll create a federation of some kind. So with the treatment finished, Archer turns to leave, but Phlox interjects that as a young medic, he served in the Denobulan infantry, and he found that battlefields can be unpredictable places, even under a flag of truce. Be careful.
Okay.
So the shuttle pod launches from Enterprise, carrying T'Pol and Archer, and within seconds, they've lost the navigational sensors and the comm. T'Pol explains it's the Andorian jamming signal, and she'll enter the coordinates that they were given. Now, you guys remember those TNG episodes where Picard was preparing for a crucial negotiation, and he would have Troy in there helping him, or he could talk to Guinan or Worf.
Yeah, he would be
something.
doing all this research ahead of time and have a whole bunch of people. Even if he was the only person going into the negotiation, a whole bunch of people were involved in the background.
We get advice. We get an expo dump of this is what this culture is. This is what. Okay. Yep. No, I know exactly.
I know where this is going.
Just putting that in your mind before we carry on. All right, so T'Pol asked Archer if he had a chance to read the territorial compromise. I glanced at it, he said.
Oh my
God.
fucking God.
Oh my God.
T'Pol explains that the territorial compromise is at the heart of this dispute and it's worth his attention. And Archer replies, it's 1,200 pages long.
Oh my
T'Pol
God.
asked Archer if he glanced at any of the other material she sent, such as Valar's treatise on negotiating tactics, which is the defining text on the subject. And Archer cuts her off to say, I got all of it. Valar's treatise, the revised inter-system agreement, the high command briefing on the border incursions of 2112. I was up until 2 a.m. To which T'Pol replies...
Again, it must have taken them so long to get there. Presumably there was
3
more
days.
time than just one night.
He's had 3 days.
And 3 nights.
Okay. 3 days. So they were, but that's a whole 3 days. It's 1,200 pages, but you have somebody else. You split it
he has
up.
a staff.
Other people, read sections and come back to you. Oh
Gang,
Correct.
he's still working on the introduction to his father's biography.
Oh, right. And his gazelle speech.
He's so incompetent.
So Archer says, I was up until 2 a.m. And T'Pol says, glancing, which was a pretty good thing.
Honestly, I'm going to regret saying this. I think I'm on Archer's side because if I had to read 1,200 pages of a document Vulcans wrote about a treaty organization, I'd probably start flipping through the pages looking for pictures.
That's
you know
fair.
what I'm saying?
Well, Paul points out that Ambassador Saval thinks that Archer's going to fail, and she was hoping that some advanced preparation would help prove him wrong. But Archer replies, thanks, but I doubt I'm going to impress Shran by quoting the Vulcan treaties. His strategy, step 1, he's going to convince Shran that he can trust Archer.
Mm-hmm.
And can anyone guess what step 2 is?
Question mark. Step 3, prophet.
There is no step 2. He is just going to play it by ear.
Okay,
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
but there's 2 people in this treaty, right? Like, I understand that Shran may not care about whatever, but it's not just a Vulcan treaty. It is a Vulcan Andorian treaty. Like, presumably the Andorians were part of the treaty originally. And second, he doesn't just need to get the Andorians aboard with him. He also needs to get the Vulcans to agree. And you know what Vulcans love? A 1,200-page treaty.
Love a fucking 1,200-page treaty, man.
I'm sure the Vulcans love some bureaucracy.
Well, Archer doesn't. So the shuttle pod lands in the colony, and weapons fire can be seen in the distance.
Holy
Archer
shit,
and
does this episode end with him digging like a giant water polo pit, and that's how they settle this dispute?
That would be better.
I thought you were going to say a mass grave.
Well,
Bill, do you mean a pool? A water polo pit? A pool?
Water polo pit.
well, if you're a huge sports fan like I am, Jamie, you understand.
Hey, I went to a baseball game like 3 days ago, you guys. Like, I did it. I went to a sports game. Granted, it was the Savannah Banana.
So Archer and T'Pol move inside wearing their landing party jackets. An Andorian moves behind them unseen. And the female Andorian moves behind T'Pol, saying, "Don't move, Vulcan." Archer says that they are unarmed, and a handful of Andorians pop out, surrounding them with their weapons ready.
You asked for us to come here.
Yeah.
Archer identifies himself and says that he's here to see Commander Shran. The Andorian female is hesitant to bring a Vulcan to see Shran, but Archer explains that this is his science officer, and she was instrumental in exposing the Vulcan listening post. He thought Shran may want to see her again. The Andorian woman nods, and the soldiers put their weapons away. The Andorians put bags over Archer and T'Pol's heads and lead them back to that main room with the map.
This is like the 3rd time that they have, like, essentially kidnapped Archer.
It's the traditional Andorian greeting.
Yeah.
For Archer, at least.
Ooh, this is a nicer bag than before. This is like fat. It's got a fur trim on it. This is nice.
So Archer and T'Pol are seated at a table and the masks are removed. Upon seeing Shran, Archer says that he imagined his first diplomatic mission would involve sitting around a table, drinking champagne, and signing things with lots of pens.
Oh my god.
To which Shran replies, "The pink-skinned sense of humor." Shran apologizes for the security precautions, and the Andorian woman says that we cannot be too careful when it comes to dealing with the Vulcans. Archer replies that they say the same thing about you. And Shran is sure they do, because Andorians are aggressive and illogical. Archer challenges him to prove them wrong. Shran says that he intends to. That's why Archer is here. He's dealt with the Vulcans twice before when Archer was involved, and both times Archer handled the situation without prejudice.
Wait, the second time wasn't with Vulcans, right?
The Vulcans were the ones who
the
were,
Vulcans
it was a
were
hostage
there.
situation,
Okay.
and they
The
wanted to
Vulcans-
jump in and shoot everything up.
The Vulcans were trying to rescue them.
Yeah.
Well, Archer hopes that he can help again, but the first thing he needs is to see the hostages. The Andorian woman reacts to his use of the word hostages. Criminals take hostages, and she assumes that Archer is referring to the enemy soldiers that they captured. Shran says the prisoners are all right, they haven't been harmed, and takes Archer to see them. But before Archer can ask if they're all right, the Andorian woman closes the door and says they are lucky we didn't kill them. T'Pol says to the Andorian woman that you provoked the situation when you violated the compromise. The Andorian woman replies that only Vulcans could call 100 years of oppression a compromise. The Vulcans annexed a planet that belonged to the Andorians, herded their people into refugee camps. Shran interrupts the exposition scene to say that we will release our prisoners in the following conditions: the immediate withdrawal of all Vulcan military forces.
Wait, so the Vulcans really had like refugee camps that they put Andorians in. That's bad.
That's what it sounds like.
These Vulcans suck.
These Vulcans suck.
I know we say
Enterprise
that a lot,
Vulcans
but these Vulcans suck.
So are these captured Vulcans, were they soldiers or were they...
They were soldiers.
Okay.
And they were just being kept in a cell.
Well, they're prisoners of war then. They're not hot. Well, okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Just want to understand the terms we're talking about here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shran wants the Vulcans to recall the compromise, and the Vulcans must concede irrevocably all sovereignty of Waitan to Andoria. Archer says you don't expect them to agree to all that. And the Vulcan woman says, I told you, he's a puppet of the Vulcans. Archer points out that, for the record, the Vulcan High Command doesn't like me very much, and frankly, the feeling is mutual. If all you need is someone to deliver your list of demands, find someone else. I've got other things to do.
Damn, power move. I like this.
Yeah, I don't hate Archer in this at the moment,
Not-
at least.
Yeah.
I mean, he has no idea what diplomacy is, clearly.
No, he doesn't, but like... Okay.
Shran says that the Vulcans always say they're ready to talk, but it amounts to nothing. Treating negotiations that drag on for years. He wants Zaval, someone who can deal with the situation without having to check with his superiors. Archer says he'll see what I can do, and Shran says, here, on my terms. It might be a little difficult, Archer points out. The Vulcans are going to want to see something in return, a gesture to show that the Andorians are serious. He came down here to see about the hostages, and he thinks that Shran should release all of the hostages. Of course, Shran doesn't agree to this. They negotiate back and forth, and Shran does agree to release one hostage.
Okay. That's how this works.
Yeah.
Yep.
As a
Just
gesture
like
of goodwill.
as a gesture of good. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Back on Enterprise, Saval finds the proposal unacceptable. Archer says that he got one of his men back, to which Saval points out that in exchange, you will deliver me into their hands. I'm sure the Andorians were impressed by your negotiating skills. Saval refuses to meet with Shran.
Can
because...
he just like meet over Teams? Like, do they have to meet in person for this?
Yeah.
Because I do think like it's a legitimate fear. Like if I show up to do the negotiation, they could just take me hostage. Like that's a real fear. But like I feel like they could just video call this thing.
But also, isn't that his job? Like, isn't that why he's there to negotiate? So then what is he like, oh, I can't go negotiate?
But maybe he could just negotiate over a video call.
I understand that. I'm not disagreeing with you there. But what I'm saying is, like, what was your plan then? If you're not going to go down to talk to the dude, what was the plan?
Yeah.
They're going to do a Zoom call.
That's not going to do a Zoom call.
Again, I think it's a show of good faith. I will show up. Now, granted, walking into the enemy, normally you would have a neutral territory, like, say, the Enterprise, where these two people could meet.
That would make way more sense.
Well, back on the Enterprise, Saval finds the proposal unacceptable. Oh, I already said that. So Archer says
I think we can just make that a macro. Saval finds this unacceptable.
Right. That is a theme throughout this entire episode. So Archer says that if Saval doesn't meet with Shran, these negotiations will end before they begin. But Sub Commander Murak replies that may happen anyway, as we've detected 3 Andorian vessels approaching. They'll be here in less than 5 hours. So Saval thinks they're intending to resupply their troops, and he will not allow that. T'Pol points out that attacking Andorian vessels would be construed as an act of war, to which Saval says that will be their decision.
Kind of seems like they're already at war, but maybe that's just me.
Right. There was an awful lot of weapons fired for folks who were not at war.
Right.
Archer says that both sides are responsible for what happens next. And Saval points out that Archer doesn't understand the complexities of the situation that he's in.
Yep.
Yeah.
To which Archer says, with all due respect, Ambassador, why did you agree to let me go down there if you won't listen to my advice?
I was hoping they would kill you.
High five. Mind melt.
Because Saval must be so disappointed that he came back alive.
Oh, you're back. Great. Oh, great.
Archer walks in the room. What the fuck?
Saval was like, well,
His plan couldn't fail.
I knew it wasn't going to help anything with the Andorians, but like I figured that the Andorians could at least take care of my human problem.
Well, Saval points out that he didn't request Archer's help and doesn't feel obliged to accept it. Archer replies that you claim the Andorians are inflexible. At least they're willing to sit down and talk. The ball's in your court now. Saval looks at T'Pol for clarification, and she explains that it's a human expression, which means the next move is yours.
Sorry, I do love Archer just like using the thing is like a well-trained ambassador. I know our Archer's not an but he kind of is an ambassador. Like his whole job is to go out and like meet alien species. And you'd think if he were trained in that, he would be trained to not like use idioms and phrases like that might be confusing.
Also,
to an
Vulcans don't
alien species.
have balls? It's a real Darmok situation.
Yeah, when they launched this mission, they should have considered they may be encountering alien species and maybe put someone on the crew who would be trained to act as an ambassador, because they point out in this episode that Archer is the closest thing they have to an ambassador.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You're the closest thing we have to a, checks notes, ambassador.
Well, back in the shuttle bay, Saval enters, followed by Sub-Commander Murak, who is saying that this isn't wise. The colony hasn't been secured. And Saval replies, "Didn't you hear the captain? The ball is in our court," and descends the stairs towards the shuttle. Now, Trip is following Archer into the shuttle bay, and he also doesn't like this.
Oh, this is a terrible
With all the
idea.
interference down there, they won't be able to call for help. Archer smiles at him and says that they're expecting us. We'll be fine.
Oh my god.
They're all in the same area. Trip was the one who called Saval pathetic, like on an open... Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
they're taking turns going down the stairs into the shuttle pod. So Tucker points out that the Andorian ships will be here in 4 hours and says that the territorial compromise took 8 years to work out. Archer says that he'll try to speed things up this time.
And then he picks up a boombox and pops in a cassette.
Lord, give me the confidence of a mediocre white man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like the show just feels like it's like, oh, you know, all those like bureaucrats and like ambassadors negotiating stuff. But like, if you just have the right person and like, if I were in the room,
Right.
like I'd just like bam, 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 like figure it out and everyone agrees.
I
And
don't
it's
know.
great.
This is a pretty common Trek trope. Like,
Yes,
Kirk
that is
would do
true.
this. Picard would definitely do this. Like, Picard's going to show up. It's like, I'm gonna cut the. Well, it's a Gordian knot thing. It's like I'm gonna think of a new way to solve this problem. Can Archer do this? We'll see.
We'll see. Back on the planet, Shran instructs his troops to bring them here as soon as they land and instructs his men to treat the Vulcan with due respect. The men move off, and the Andorian woman asks if she may speak. Shran says, "I don't have to. I know what you're going to say." She says, we discovered this planet and made it livable. It belongs to us. Shran assures her not to worry. It'll be theirs again. She points out they've been talking to the Vulcans for 100 years, and what makes him think it's going to work now. But Shran wants to give Archer a chance.
God.
Can I ask a really stupid question?
Please.
This whole treaty, did the treaty say anything about this planet?
The treaty was all about this planet.
Wait, so this wasn't just the whole treaty. This was the treaty about the So what did the Andorians agree to in the past?
It seems like the Andorians just agreed to stay off this planet.
Oh, and now they're like, we changed our minds.
Right.
Okay.
Shran and his troops have decided to take the planet back because they feel it belongs to them.
Okay.
It is-
Okay.
They're the
got
ones
it.
who had been terraforming.
Oh, this is literally the Falklands. Okay. All right.
Right.
Okay. Look, I know that we know that
Go ahead.
the Vulcans suck. We have had ample evidence that the Vulcans suck.
Yes.
So I feel maybe we're on the Andorian side just because we don't know what they're.
Just because we like Shran.
Yeah, because like
exactly.
Shran.
Because he keeps
Right.
kidnapping
So we
Archer.
like Jeffrey Combs. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we just like Jeffrey Combs and like to see him like a decent actor on the show.
So I just want to put a pin in the idea that maybe the Andorians are worse. Like, I would not want to live under the Thatcher government. It seemed like pretty bad. I absolutely do not want to live under a 1980s Argentina military junta. So,
Yeah, I mean, even just the fact when Shran is like, oh, like he doesn't like the Vulcan ambassador because then they
Right.
can't even commit to anything and they have to go back and talk to other
Right.
people. I'm like, yeah, that's how a democracy works.
yeah.
You're not going to have one person that can just make the decision.
All right.
But clearly Shran for the Andorians is that person. He can just make the decision and everyone
Right.
else, he doesn't seem to answer to anyone else.
Well, the Andorian woman thinks that he puts too much faith in the Pinkskins. We know nothing about them except that they're friends of the Vulcans, to which Shran sharply replies, "Not always. I've seen that for myself." She continues to argue until Shran finally reveals that her name is Tara. At the 22-minute mark, she gets a name.
Oh, great.
We still
And
don't know
Shran says
Shran's
that-
name, but...
Right. Well, Shran's name is mentioned many times.
okay.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
good.
okay.
Oh, right. People are mentioning it. So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
finally
People
has
are
a
talking
name.
about him. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Shran. Who's Shran? Where's Shran? Hey, Shran.
Yeah, wait, is it... Because is it
Shran
Shran
or
or
Shran?
Shran?
That I couldn't tell you. That I don't remember.
All right, well,
Well,
I'll
it
listen
depends
closely.
on if you're from the East Coast or Ohio, where I grew up. Shran.
So Shran says that he values her opinion, but that he will not allow her to question his commands. Now we're back in the shuttle. Archer explains to Saval that the Andorians will send their troops to meet them when they land. But he's afraid they're going to want to blindfold Saval. It's just a security precaution. Saval thanks him for the reassurance and says, if you don't mind, I'll need a few minutes of silence to prepare myself.
Sorry, blindfold because it's not like he doesn't know where the planet is.
Well, no, it's where their
Where their
headquarters
base
Command
is.
post is.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh. Why can't they just do the negotiation on the Enterprise? Like, I don't understand.
But I...
Never asked, never answered.
Why?
That's right.
It
Why?
would make sense. It would make 100% sense for everything to happen on Enterprise.
Am I understanding what you just said? He needed time to be prepared to be blindfolded?
He basically told Archer to shut up. He needs some silence to prepare himself for the negotiations. Archer was a bit chattery.
Oh,
on
God.
the
Got it,
shuttle.
got it.
No, I have a prediction. This motherfucker's going to do something sneaky. He's going to return on a transponder or a recording device. I do not like this guy. Okay.
Yeah, that checks out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In this case, he told Archer to STFU, and but he didn't get a chance because there was an explosion and weapons fire. T'Pol can't pinpoint the source. And we cut to a pretty cool overhead shot of the shuttle being fired on by blue energy beams from the surface. Again and again, they cannot call the ship for help because they're inside the jamming range. So Saval recommends canceling the negotiations and returning to the ship. Archer says, for once,
seems
we're
fair.
in full agreement. Yes. Good. But they get a direct hit, and the starboard engine and the main power goes offline. Saval asks, now you see who you're dealing with, Captain? But they're losing altitude.
Saval's
200
like,
meters.
we are about to die, but I
you
need
so.
to make sure you understood. I told you so.
Quick prediction. Vulcan false flag operation. They're attempting to shoot down the shuttle to make it look like the Andorians are attacking
Yeah,
them.
that does sound like
Which
the
is
theory.
why that motherfucker had to have a moment of silence, which was to turn on some transponder detecting device. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Well, they're losing altitude. 200 meters. Archer is going to bring them in on thrusters. 100 meters. 50 meters. T'Pol says we need to reduce our speed, and Archer replies the ground is going to do that for us. Brace yourselves.
Well, he's not wrong.
And we cut to a cool rear shot of the shuttle pod coming in for a crash landing in the alien city. And I got to say, like, the effects team brought their A game on this episode.
Cool.
All of the overhead shots, the shuttle shots, the crash shots, all of that stuff looks super cool in this episode.
Nice.
So we fade back in on burning debris. The crash shuttle pod sparks as Archer opens the port with his phase pistol ready. Archer looks around and asks T'Pol if she knows where they are, but she doesn't. Saval comments that they're in the southeast quadrant near the old spaceport. And as they give him a surprised look, he says, I told you I negotiated the last accord. He also says that he served here with the occupation force as an intelligence officer a long time ago.
Yeah.
He indicates the direction of the current deployment about 2.5 kilometers away, to which Archer replies, I appreciate your help, but we're looking for the Andorians. Saval points out that the circumstances have altered their plans, but Archer gave his word to Shran and intends to keep it. Their attention is drawn by weapons fire in the distance. Saval points out that Shran just tried to kill them, and Archer retorts, we don't know that.
Total lie.
Mm-hmm.
Saval's incredulous and says, I suppose you think our troops did this. Archer says, sensors were offline, weapons fire was everywhere, we don't know what happened. Saval thinks Archer's naive, but Archer says Shran is a man who couldn't sleep because he thought he owed Archer something. He doesn't think he'd draw him 12 light years just so he could lead Saval into a trap. The best thing to do right now is to get a ceasefire in place, and the Andorians won't do that until they talk to Saval in person.
Shran would not draw me 1,200 light years away to draw me into a death trap. You, on the other hand, motherfucker.
Well, Archer's pretty confident that he kept the shuttle on course most of the way in, and they can't be more than 1 kilometer from the landing coordinates. Saval follows Archer and T'Pol. So
Yeah,
back up in orbit.
What about T'Pol? Like,
Go
does
ahead.
T'Pol have an opinion on this? She's been
She did
very
not.
quiet. I forgot she was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was very quiet. She had some snarking left in her, though. She'll be back. So back in orbit, the Enterprise is flying alongside the two Vulcan ships, and Sub-Commander Muroc is informing Trip over the view screen that their sensors detect a weapons fire on the surface, and the shuttle had an emergency landing somewhere in the colony. The Vulcans could tell because their sensors were more sophisticated than the Enterprise's, but Enterprise couldn't pick it up. They haven't been able to pinpoint the landing site, but the units on the ground are already searching. The High Command has instructed the Vulcans to recover Ambassador Saval. Malcolm makes his first appearance in the episode to ask, "And our officers?" To which Muroc replies, "Of course. Trip wants to be involved."
That's worrying.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Right.
those guys too.
Afterthought.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Don't
we'll
worry
get
about
them.
it.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
So Trip wants to be involved in any rescue mission, but Muroc says they have more experience in these matters. But Trip knows that. He once saw a Vulcan commando unit blast the hell out of a rebel compound during a rescue mission. He doesn't think it's a good idea to go in guns blazing, but Muroc says they will handle it and keep him informed. As the Vulcans end the communication, Trip turns to Hoshi and asks if she's had any luck. And she gets her first line in this episode to say that she's trying, but she hasn't found anything. Trip asks her to keep trying. And Travis also gets a line. He tells Trip that the Andorian ships are 3 hours away at their present speed.
Travis got his one line of
one
the
line
episode.
per episode.
Good
So
Travis.
far, and we're only halfway through. There's still time. Back in the Andorian Command Center, Shran is furious. He gave specific orders that the shuttle to be left alone. Tara replies that the orders were followed, but Shran is incredulous. Who fired then? Did the Vulcans fire on their own ambassador? And Tara says, "Is that so unlikely?" She's sure that the Vulcan subterfuge, she is sure that it's Vulcan subterfuge to justify an invasion. Shran knows that the Vulcans are devious, but he doesn't think they'd go that far.
It was Malcolm.
Tara says, "You act as if the Vulcans have some sort of moral code. They have no conscience. They're only their precious logic. They will do anything to drive us off this planet." Shran asks if she's not happy with the way he's been handling the situation. She stiffens and says, "Of course I am." Shran orders that if he wants Saval and the pink skin brought to him alive. He doesn't say anything about T'Pol. They're looking for an excuse to attack, and we won't give it to them. Tara says that she will see to it herself.
Yeah, I think, Bill, I think you're definitely right.
Yeah, I think so too.
It was Malcolm.
That's the reigning theory right now.
God,
The Vulcans are behind it.
No, it was Malcolm.
Any other show, I'd be like, that does not sound like something the Vulcans would do at all. But on this show, I'm like, this
100%.
100% sounds
No,
like
these
the
Vulcans, especially after Stigma, no, these Vulcans are... These Vulcans bad.
Yeah. And they're really leading on the Andorian perception that the Vulcans are just devious, have no moral code. Well, have you ever met a Vulcan that's not lying?
Yeah, and
T'Pol
the
lies
Andorians,
all the fucking time. Like,
the Andorians know the Vulcans better than basically any other species. They have like the longest history with them. So I would trust the Andorians on that. I mean, obviously they're biased because of all the wars and stuff, but I still feel like, yeah, the Vulcans do seem really devious.
I'm at the point now where every time T'Pol says something, my immediate response is, citation needed.
Well, meanwhile, Archer is leading the party through the bombed-out colony. Archer and Saval are continuing to bicker. Archer doesn't know... Archer clearly doesn't know where he's going. And Saval says, "Perhaps you were more off course than you thought." Archer says, "Well, you've been here before. Maybe you'd like to help." Saval replies that it was over 100 years ago. Archer retorts that, "I thought Vulcans had exceptional memories." Saval looks around and says that this is the old residential quarter. According to the latest intelligence, the Andorians controlled the settlement west of here.
Oh, God, sorry. I'm just picturing Saval like being in a really old Vulcan. That's where the old service merchandise used to be. Then it was a CVS before it... Shut up!
Well, Saval asks Archer, "What do you recommend? Wandering around these ruins until we find an Andorian soldier and trust he's been informed not to shoot us on sight?" Archer instructs the others to stay there while he takes a look around. T'Pol starts to object, but Archer tells her that's an order. With all due respect, Archer's ears are less likely to draw attention than theirs. And after he moves off, Saval asks, "What is their fixation with our ears?" T'Pol retorts that she believes that humans are just envious. Saval asks T'Pol if she's noticed that she's picked up a slight human accent.
Oh.
What?
He goes on to say that T'Pol was one of the most promising members of his staff. If she had just remained in San Francisco, she might be an assistant consul or even have a diplomatic posting of her own by now.
Oh, she was a diplomat.
T'Pol's aware.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
She
remember?
might have had a
'Cause
successful career.
She met that other diplomat and was talking about how she,
Oh.
Yeah, it was
she
her
like went into diplomacy.
Oh.
idol or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, right. No, Vulcans don't have idols. Even though they have people that influence how they live their lives and direct them, but they don't have idols.
She went into diplomacy and now she's the science officer. That makes total sense, Bill. I don't know why you don't understand.
I'm just too stupid.
And before she was a spy.
She was.
Yeah.
But then she got her mind right. God damn, we are so fucking deep in the lore of this show. Let's move on. Oh, boy.
Saval wants to know why T'Pol has remained on Enterprise. And T'Pol says the Vulcans recognized the humans needed their help when they invented warp drive, and that hasn't changed. Saval agrees that Captain Archer's record is evidence of that. But there are others who can assist him. T'Pol says that she finds the work gratifying, to which Saval comments that gratification is an emotional indulgence.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
T'Pol says, have you met my fiance?
Well, T'Pol disagreed with the Vulcans' recommendation that Archer's mission be canceled after the tragedy at Paraga 2. And she says she was on board Enterprise at the time, and she felt that her opinion would be welcomed.
Not their fault.
Yeah, wait. Which tragedy?
The Paragon, the genocide when they blew up the atmosphere, but it was a complete false flag operation by the Suliban. It was literally not their doing.
I forgot. I didn't know that was the name of that planet.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know where that was, but okay.
I just remember it because I did that episode.
Yeah.
Well, Saval asks if T'Pol believed that she knew better than the High Command.
Suddenly, T'Pol starts barking.
Well, Saval thinks that sounds like another emotion, arrogance. And he says,
you motherfucker, you're talking to me about arrogance?
How dare you, sir?
Also, arrogance not an emotion. Again.
Everything is an emotion, Jamie. Don't you remember?
Also, like, if arrogance is an emotion and the Vulcans, like, don't really do emotion, then it really doesn't make sense. Because arrogant is the word for these Vulcans.
Yes.
Oh.
Arrogance is a personality trait, not an emotion.
I think it might be I guess
It's a hard.
I've made so many jokes about what can be an emotion on this show. I've lost all track. What was the first one? Loyalty.
Loyalty was an emotion as well.
Yeah.
well, in this episode, we had gratification and arrogance were the emotions. Saval suggests that it's time for T'Pol to consider another assignment. And she says that just because Captain Archer has earned her respect, that doesn't mean that she's been contaminated by his emotions. But suddenly Archer's back, and he says the fighting is pulling back, and they all go off together. Meanwhile, Tara and another Andorian have found the shuttle pod. He tells her associate that the pink skin will want to keep his part of the bargain, and he'll be looking for Shran. Back on Enterprise, Hoshi gets her second line. She can't be sure, but she believes that she has found a biosign that may be human. She'll need another hour to identify the location.
That's very
Travis
specific.
also gets a second line to say that the Andorian ships will be here in 13 minutes. So Malcolm reports that the Vulcan ships are breaking orbit, probably giving themselves room to maneuver, and Trip orders a tactical alert.
So it's now been like 3 hours because before the ship was 3 hours away.
Yep. Back on the surface, Archer, Saval, and T'Pol come under fire from Andorian weapons. Saval is hit and he goes down. Archer and T'Pol help him up and try to make a run for it, but they get pinned down behind some debris. Archer calls out to the Andorians that they have brought Ambassador Saval to meet with Shran. Archer comes up with a plan. He identifies where the two Andorians are shooting from and intends to circle around behind them. He hands his face pistol to Saval, to which Saval asks, "What do you expect me to do with this?" Archer says, "Make sure they don't see me." And Saval says, "I haven't fired a weapon in 50 years.
That's a fucking ballsy move to hand a pistol to the guy who hates you the worst in the world. That's Go Archer. Okay, I approve of this. Like, hey, you know how you hate me and I destroyed your most sacred site and I exposed your hypocrisy of having... Here's a gun. I'm going to walk away from you now.
Cover my back.
Later on, Saval's like, I don't know. I couldn't do anything about it. Archer was hit by friendly fire.
The gun just suddenly went off. I was cleaning it and it suddenly went off.
3 times.
He ran onto my knife.
Well, Archer says that Saval doesn't have to hit anything. He just has to keep him occupied. Really occupied, or he's not going to get very far. T'Pol and Saval begin firing while Archer moves through the rubble. And he's got some pretty sweet moves. He's like a kid playing ninja.
Yeah, he does.
Doing somersaults and stuff.
So parkour.
He's rolling the ground.
Yeah.
He climbs up a ladder to sneak up behind one of the Andorians. And he yells, "Hey!" When the guy turns around, he punches him in the face.
That's his move.
Classic Archer move.
He did that.
I'm sorry. Wait. The pistol, like, he should just kept it and put it on stun and stunned the guy instead of, like, just punching him in the face, which this guy could then just shoot you. Like,
yeah, but it's Star Trek. I mean, I'll back up Enterprise on this because oftentimes you can karate chop a guy and he'll just go down.
Okay, it's a Star Trek.
It's a TV trope. I mean,
a punch will knock a guy out. So back in orbit, the 3 Andorian ships are approaching, and on the bridge, Malcolm reports that the Andorian ships are 50,000 meters away. Malcolm says the Vulcans and Andorians
50,000 meters? That's super close in space. That's like touching.
It is. Yep, they're charging their weapons, and Trip orders Travis to put the Enterprise right between the Vulcan and Andorian ships.
Classic Trek move.
Yeah, that's
fantastic.
AAA.
AAA, no notes.
Back on the surface, Archer is sneaking up behind the second Andorian. This one is Tara. One of the Vulcans is shooting at her with surprising accuracy, but she dodges the blasts and continues shooting as Archer sneaks up behind her. Archer orders her to drop her weapon, and he says that he's never fired an Andorian rifle before, so he's not sure if it's set on stun.
Right now you're probably asking yourself, did I fire 5 phaser shots or only 6?
Well, as Tara turns to face him, Archer orders T'Pol to cease fire. Tara informs Archer that the Andorian rifle does not have a stun setting.
Ooh.
She throws her gun away, and Archer wants to know why Tara is trying to undermine everything Shran is working to accomplish here, and asks if she wants a war with the Andorians. She replies that all they want is a chance to fight for what's theirs before cowards like Shran negotiate it away. Archer says that she can take that up with Shran, and he orders her to come with him. But as he turns to follow her, his foot goes through the floor and he falls down. She attacks and pretty solidly whoops his ass, kicking him hard enough that he goes flying through the floor.
That checks out.
Before she can grab his rifle, Archer pops up back through the floor and slugs her in the face. Just then, Shran and some more Andorian troops arrive and level their own rifles at Archer. And Shran sees Tara on the ground, looks pretty pissed.
I would imagine.
Back in orbit, Enterprise is positioned between the Andorian and Vulcan vessels. Hoshi reports that they are being hailed both by the Vulcans and the Andorians. Shrip puts them on a 3-way call, and the Vulcan Andorian commanders talk smack to each other for a minute before Tucker tells them that he will open fire on any ship that makes an aggressive move. The Vulcan says that this isn't Enterprise's affair, and Trip says...
yeah, I'm sorry. That would definitely start a war.
Also, that's not a threat.
Well...
Both of those species are far better armed than you.
Well, no. I'm going to stick up for them. This is a tense diplomatic situation. This is a ship that has been called in to negotiate a peace between both of them. And if anybody opened fire, they would clearly be in the wrong. That's a good Trek move. I stick up for that. Like, yes, obviously they would be destroyed. That's the point, is obviously they would be destroyed.
I see what you're saying. Okay, fine.
Well, Trip says that as long as his captain is in the middle of this war zone, then this is Enterprise's affair. And furthermore, they have identified Archer's biosign, and he's still alive. And he tells them to give Archer and Saval a chance to do their jobs before they start a war up here. Back on the surface, Tara is telling Archer, Tara is telling Shran that Archer was ready to kill her, and T'Pol and Saval enter. And Archer says to Shran, "I suppose I shot the ambassador to make my story more convincing." Shran is incredulous that one of his officers would lie to him. And Saval says that Shran is willing to resolve this through peaceful means. He asks if all of Shran's officers feel the same way. T'Pol asks if he has considered there might be Andorians who would start a war with Vulcan. As Shran looks suspiciously at Tara, she protests, but Archer reminds Shran that he brought Archer here because he could trust him, and tells him to check Saval's wounds and check the shuttle pod, and he'll find the Andorians' weapon signatures.
Okay, I just want to say Tara is only the second alien female that we've ever had that existence wasn't just to be a mother or a love interest. So I love that.
Yeah. Suddenly Tara's child runs in and she scoops him up in her arms.
Wait, there was the
Vulcan ambassador.
Yeah, Valar.
Yeah, but also the Klingon. Woman that was in the freezer for some reason. But yeah, so I guess this is the third. So we finally have 3 female aliens.
And I want to point out that I was wrong. This was not a Vulcan false flag operation. This was a radical Andorian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. And that's the second thing is I kind of like, because I think that this show has definitely set us up to be like, it's the Vulcans. The Vulcans are doing something shady. Right. And I kind of like, especially because the last 2 times that we saw the Andorians and Vulcans, the Vulcans were doing something they shouldn't have been doing. So I kind of like this time that they're showing like, no, the Andorians also kind of suck. Or just like the Andorians can definitely not necessarily be trusted as much as we like Shran. There is a reason why the Vulcans have been at war with them for so long.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Shran comes to the realization that Tara has betrayed him. She asks what she was supposed to do, and he says, just follow my orders. She said, as you order us to do nothing while you betray us. Shran orders her to be taken away, and Tara says, there are others who feel this way, before she is led away. Shran instructs his men to see to the ambassador's wounds, because they have a lot to discuss.
I feel like the Andorians are about to have a civil war.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Shran was complaining about the Vulcans, like, oh, they negotiate, but then they have to go back and get approval for things. And it's like, well, this is what happens when you're just one person and you're just if he's negotiating other people, if they don't agree, like, I don't know. It feels like they're on the verge of a civil war.
Gang, is this show getting good?
This episode sounds great. I'm really excited for it.
So back in orbit, Malcolm reports that the Vulcan ships are breaking formation and heading for the planet. Travis reports that the Andorians are following them. Trip orders them to arm the forward phase cannons and target their weapons. But before they can do that, Hoshi receives a hail. It's the captain. Archer reports that he and T'Pol are fine and that they're at the Andorian command post. Medics are treating Saval and Shran as being a good host. Archer says that the Andorians are allowing the Vulcan ships to move in and pick up their people. Trip said, glad you let us know. Archer asked if they ran into any problems up there.
They're going to let them get all by their people.
Mm-hmm.
The prisoners of war.
Prisoners. All of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, awesome.
All's well.
Okay.
So Archer asked if they ran into any problems up there, and Trip says, nothing we couldn't handle. He cancels the tactical alert and sends Malcolm to pick up Archer and T'Pol on Shuttle Pod 2.
Is this the first time we've seen them actually use the read
tactical alert? I think so.
Well, no, I mean, they used it when it was introduced.
Well, right, other than the episode where it was introduced. I think this is the first time that we've seen them use it.
So soon after, Enterprise is flying alongside the Vulcan Andorian ships as Archer records his log. Ambassador Saval has begun his talk with the Andorians. They've been difficult, but productive. The Imperial Council will not be satisfied until the Vulcan recognizes their claim to Waitan. Archer and T'Pol are seated around a table with Shran and Saval. Archer replies to Shran that someone wants to find a compromise as a solution that neither side is happy with. Shran retorts that in that case, these talks have been extremely successful. Saval says that he considers any negotiation that averts war to be a success, and Shran abruptly stands, takes a purple bottle from the table, and begins to pour 2 glasses. He tells Saval to join him in a drink to celebrate their mutual dissatisfaction.
Crazy colored liquor. I love that. That's love that.
Saval says that Vulcans don't drink, but this occasion merits an exception. Shran toasts to the ceasefire.
Wait. Vulcans don't drink?
Right.
Yeah,
well, presumably alcohol.
They don't drink alcohol.
Right.
all of them? We've seen T'Pol drink wine.
Yeah, but she said, I don't usually drink, but this, she literally said the same thing.
But by saying, I don't usually drink is not all Vulcans don't drink, which is like what that is implying.
It's a mind-altering chemical. I can assume that, they wouldn't. It's like when I have to take a health quiz, it's like, do you smoke cigarettes? Never. Frequently. It's like, I've had 12 cigarettes in my life, so technically I can't click never. Yeah, it's
actually a pretty cute scene.
Okay, cool.
So Shran toasted the ceasefire, and he said it wouldn't be possible without their human friends. Saval adds, the talks will continue on Andoria. Shran trusts there will be more accomplished than just talk. T'Pol offers to escort the ambassador to the airlock.
There'll be more than just talk.
Before leaving, Saval turns and tells Archer that his presence here has not been overly meddlesome.
High
praise.
What was it that Spock's dad said about Picard's career? He looked at your record. He found it acceptable.
After Saval leaves, Shran says to Archer, I think he likes you, Pinkskin. To which Archer replies, I wouldn't go that far. Back in space, Enterprise departs, leaving the Andorian and Vulcan ships orbiting together. The end.
Hey. This sounds good.
Yeah. It's like a Star Trek 6 and an Enterprise 10.
This does sound like a good episode. We've talked about how, one of the problems with the show is they will create situations that should be complex, but then try to simplify it. And I like, in this case, they were like, no, it is just complex and it's just going to remain complex. And this is actually pretty hard.
Yeah, and I think it complements the Pajim episode because it's the Andorians who are in the wrong this time. So it's not just the Vulcans every time, although they kind of set you up for that expectation.
It was Vulcans all along.
And this is the kind of, like I said, this is the kind of episode you want from a Star Trek prequel where they're bringing the Andorians and Vulcans together. The struggle in these episodes, like I think the weakest part of this episode is just that it's full of Enterprise characters, and so you've got like an Archer instead of a Picard. But no, on the whole, I think this is as Enterprise goes, this is a pretty fun one.
Yeah.
And it's a little dry to describe. I didn't realize that when I picked it. That it's not that funny an episode.
It's a lot of like bureaucracy and and just like negotiations. But I still it sounds like a good episode.
It does. It does.
Okay. So the Porthos Good Boy scale. No Porthos in this episode.
Why didn't Archer bring Porthos to the negotiations?
How sexy was this episode? And from a giant Tuvix blob they created on lower decks to Dr. Culper taking his shirt off, I would say that Tara was pretty sexy. I don't agree with the only Andorian woman we've seen so far having the sexy outfit, but just as a viewer, I did notice. And it's Susan Claxton,
it's
right?
her sexy war outfit.
Right.
You have to dress sexy for the war.
Right.
I assume there was a boob window of some sort.
She had cleavage.
It's a heat window.
Right. And then...
Sorry, just like, because, when our breasts heat up, we need like some sort of like exhaust window.
That's right. When we think too hard.
I understand women. Yep.
All right. So for What the Flocks, I'm going to combine it with technical difficulties and Never Asked, Never Answered.
Okay.
Because there was that weird scene in the beginning where Phlox described the pernicious mutagenic pathogen and that he had to bathe Archer in analeptic radiation.
Oh, right.
And that never came up again. That was never again mentioned on the show.
We're like, we have an extra 3 minutes we have to add to this episode.
And you'd think like, okay, that's just an excuse for Phlox to deliver this advice. And his advice was battlefields can be unpredictable. So I'm
Was Bakula in the underwear during the...
fully clothed in the decon chamber.
Oh, that's
what?
disappointing.
The full uniform. Whoa, that's crazy.
Right. And no mentions of water polo in this episode.
Fair
but
enough.
there was a sport reference with the balls in your court.
Wait, he doesn't say the water polo balls in your end of the pool. The water polo balls in your end of the pit, as I was describing.
I love that in Bill's world, water polo has evolved to be a completely dry, full contact sport.
All right, so that's the episode. And like I said, for Enterprise, it's a pretty good one. I mean, it's doing what the show should be doing.
Right.
And I think, like I said, the effects crew brought their A game, because there are some genuinely cool shots, and I'm looking at it now from 23 years after it came out, and there's some good looking stuff in it. I think it's an effective episode. Like I said, the struggle for me watching it is that Archer is a douchebag, right? So it's like watching Star Trek, but if the captain was a douchebag, and that's the harder part of it. I want to say that I've never written 9 pages about Enterprise in the 25 years that I've been watching it. I don't think I've ever done this much preparation for a podcast, and I've been hosting one for 5 years. So thank you guys very much for inviting me on.
Sorry we put you through that rigor.
This is why we usually don't have other people come do the explainers, because it is like so much work.
It was fun, though. I had to watch Enterprise in a different way. I'd never watched Enterprise in this much detail before.
Yeah, it's I love doing it. It's so much work. I'm always like trying to make sure I've got like the hours in my week for it, but it's so much fun to do, and it's so fun telling people about it and like hearing the response.
It's almost, and maybe you'll disagree with me, Charles, it's almost like you're a shaman and you're standing by fire. Gather round, y'all. Let me tell you the story.
That's exactly what it is. It's great.
Well, that brings us to the segment of our show that we like to call Will's Holoracks, brought to you by Eric, trademark. We all know what one William Riker is doing in his holodeck. That's right, he is binging Enterprise. But what other non-Enterprise related content do we think you should be consuming instead? Chuck, as our guest, why don't you start?
Well, I've just started watching Alien Earth. Which is off to a really good start. They're doing sort of what Andor did, where it's sort of taking the aesthetic of Alien, but modernizing it, or sort of around, like, so it still feels very 70s, but also still feels contemporary in some ways. But it's a very good show so far. It's also a little bittersweet, because Noah Hawley was at one point attached to do a Star Trek movie. And he actually, he was right after Matt Shackman was attached to do a Star Trek movie and then left to do Fantastic Four First Steps. Noah Hawley came in right after him. He was attached to do a Star Trek movie. He left into Alien Earth. So like the last few months is just watching these guys be super successful at things that aren't Star Trek, while there has still been not a Star Trek movie for 9 years. But Alien Earth, I do recommend so far, based on the first episode and a half. It is very good.
Cool. Yeah.
Is it good for someone who maybe isn't super familiar with all the Alien movies?
I was just talking to
Isn't
Scott.
there a lot of them?
Well, I was talking to Scott about this, because Scott Ziegler, who's like one of the biggest Alien fans I know, so I obviously wanted to get his opinion, and he really liked it. And he said that basically Noah Hawley, which he called him Noah Wiley, which confused the hell out of me for a minute. But no.
Oh God, I would watch the fucking shit out of an ER show, except that aliens are on Earth. Right. Oh my God, that would be amazing.
But he said that Noah Hawley basically said there was Alien and Aliens and nothing else. Like,
no, that's my opinion.
He's basically ignoring everything else, and it picks up, I think, after Aliens. So you really only have to have seen the first two.
That's all I've seen. Yeah. And I've only
those are the only
seen
good ones.
This is true. My very first ever cosplay was, I was playing as Sigourney Weaver in Aliens, but I had never seen Aliens. I had just seen a screenshot of it, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna make that. And I made it, and then I was like, I should probably watch this movie. It'd be weird for me to do this without having seen the movie.
Amazing.
I think you can follow along with Alien Earth without having seen the others, but I would recommend watching them because they're classics.
Yeah.
All right, Maria, what is your recommendation?
My recommendation is a movie called Tim Travers and the Time Traveler's Paradox. It is a super fun movie. We just watched it last night. That answers the question, what happens if you travel back in time and eliminate your younger self? And so a mad scientist figures out how to do this, and hilarity ensues.
You're recommending a time travel
I'm recommending
movie,
it. I know. I am recommending a time travel movie because Rikermending a time travel movie. So it's got to be good.
Brought to you by Eric, trademark.
And it's got a great cast. Felicia Day is a producer on it. It's got Joel McHale in there, Danny Trejo. It's a fun movie.
Joel McHale and Danny Trejo, talk about the spectrum of male facial structure.
Joel McHale is playing a radio talk show, like Alex, what's his name? The conspiracy theory
Alex
guy.
Jones?
Yeah, like an Alex Jones guy. It's and has the worst hair I've ever seen Joel McHale have. It's incredible. Like it's sort of a comb over. It's incredible. It's worth watching just for that.
All right, Bill, what do you have for us?
Inspired by the discussion of this episode, my recommendation is also a movie from 2011, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
I know it's a classic. I have never seen it.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's based on a novel. Jean le Carré. It's a classic spy movie, but Jean le Carré is basically the anti-James Bond writer. He does not write about super sexy spies. He writes about boring men in 70s suits who are turning against himself. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy is basically about an aging spy who has been kicked out of the agency, who is brought back in because the higher-ups in the British government have discovered that there is a mole in the British government who is working the Soviet Union. And they need him to find out who the spy is. So it's about betrayal and lack of trust and going through and trying to discover who is the enemy within. And it's absolutely fantastic. This movie takes a lot of liberties. This movie is from 2011. The novel is from 1976, I think. The movie takes a lot of liberties. It updates things, and it is, it's just really fantastic. So Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy from 2011.
All right, and that brings us to my recommendation. I know that this is coming out way past Dragon Con, but currently when we're recording, I am prepping for my Dragon Con panels, and I was put on a kaiju-related panel, even though I don't really know anything about kaiju. I have never even seen one Godzilla movie, I realized I should probably prep for the panel by watching some kaiju movies. Yeah, I'm not really like not really like an action blockbuster person. But the first movie I watched was the 2014 Godzilla movie, which I picked because I knew that was where the "Let Them Fight" meme came from, and I thought maybe if I watch this movie, I can make a joke about the "Let Them Fight" meme. I watched the whole movie just so I can make one joke on a panel, maybe. It was bad. That is not my recommendation. But after watching that terrible movie, it was bad.
Is that the Matthew Broderick one?
No, it had Bryan Cranston, and Aaron Taylor Johnson was like the main guy.
I know the movie you're talking about.
Oh
it's
my
bad.
God.
Yep.
He was as charismatic as a bowl of rocks. Like the bowl of rocks that
the movie is bad.
Got pregnant from. It was not good. But then after that, last night, I watched Godzilla -1.
Oh, such a great movie.
It was so good. Movie. If I wasn't prepping for this panel, I never would have watched this because, again, like I see Godzilla in the title, I'm like, no, not for me. This movie was so good. So if you're somebody who thinks about these big action blockbusters and you're like, I don't like that, you should still watch Godzilla -1. It takes place in post-World War II Japan, and it's really about how individuals and a nation recover from collective trauma and find redemption in taking care of each other and found families. And also Godzilla's there, I guess. And I was really surprised afterwards. Did you guys know that this movie was made for under $15 million?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
I did not know that. I was just afterwards I got curious and I was looking up the production, and when I saw that number, I was absolutely shocked.
I have a supplemental recommendation, Jamie. the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode Godzilla vs. Megalon, which is an amazing summary of all of Godzilla and the silliness of it.
And that is the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Next week, we will revisit this episode as a second contact and hear all of our thoughts on it once we've actually watched it. Chuck, thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you?
Well, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, you can find me and Veronica at Felt Nerdy across social media, or Felt Nerdy and Dirty if you like dirty, nerdy content involving puppets and naked ladies. But you can follow me for more Star Trek content.
Tell me more.
At Earth Station Trek. It's our weekly podcast where we go out live on Thursday evenings on YouTube talking about the latest Star Trek episode or a legacy Star Trek topic, and after the fact on your favorite podcast platform. We're also a sister show of yours on the ESO network. We've also written a book together, which started out as just sort of being a guide to Star Trek with some essays, but turned into a very personal exploration of Star Trek. But you can find that on Amazon.com. Also, I'm the Star Trek track director for Stellar Fest, which is a sci-fi convention here in Atlanta. We had a fantastic, super successful first year this past year. We'll be back in April. But if you're interested in coming to Stellar Fest, they've opened up the panel submissions now. So please submit some Star Trek content. We would love to have you. We had a great time this past year. And you can also find me on the Monkeying Around podcast, which is a podcast about the monkeys.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, thank you.
Love the monkeys.
Special thanks to K.O. Myers at Particulate Media for sound assistance, to our friend David for our beautiful cover art, and to John Stephen King for being the voice of our computer. If you liked this show, please rate, review, and subscribe on your podcast app of choice, and tell your friends about it. We really appreciate that. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook as @EnterpriseSplaining, and on Blue Sky as @EnterpriseSplain. You can also email us any comments or questions, such as any of your ideas maybe for some more inclusive racial epithets other than pink skin. Because again, we need our racial epithets to be more inclusive, is all I'm saying. To enterprisesplaining@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And if you want to support this podcast, you can find us at Buy Me a Coffee as Enterprise Splaining. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Computer. End program.
Well, then I even went back today and because I hadn't paid any attention to what they were eating, and I was like, someone's going to ask me what they were eating. So I went back and I had to rewind to the scene or fast forward to the scene. It was like, what are they eating? I can't even tell.
It's good.
Yeah, well, you have no idea how weirdly obsessed we are. If and I hope you do come back for the second contact for the episode, we are going to spend 45 minutes talking about what they eat.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be available for that, but I was at dinner the other night. My friend Elaine said that she was going to be on the second contact for this episode.
Yes.
So
Elaine is gonna be on
that's
the
fun.
second
Elaine has a very different opinion on Enterprise than I have, so that'll be a good opinion to get.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.